I'm here at the North Carolina Emergency Operations Center. Governor Josh Stein is going to give us the update on the weather here in a few minutes. This is Terry with WWGP and SanfordTV.live.
Of salt ready to treat roads once the snow hits. We are staging equipment in areas that are known trouble spots during winter storms so crews can quickly plow and treat roads. We're also working with our partner agencies, the North Carolina State Highway Patrol and the North Carolina National Guard, to help clear roads of disabled vehicles in hot spots where breakdowns frequently occur during winter storms and on highway shoulders. Their assistance enables quicker clearance of disabled vehicles so our snowplow operators can work to clear any snow off the road. Once the storm hits, our crews are prepared to work day and night in shifts to plow and treat snow and ice until all the state-maintained roads are cleared. Our first priorities will be the interstates and other major highways, then other U.S. and NC routes, and then secondary roads. Please know that we will respond and clear roads as quickly as possible. Unless it is absolutely necessary, avoid traveling during and after the storm. This allows our crews time to clear roads safely. We ask that everyone be patient and stay off the roads. As conditions improve, please check drivenc.gov for the latest travel information. Thank you, and I'm going to turn it back over to Governor Stein.
Thank you, Director Ray, Secretary Hopkins, for those updates. During winter weather, just like any severe weather situation in our state, the number one priority of the state of North Carolina is keeping our people safe. So we recommend that you take the following actions to navigate this winter weather event. Make sure you have everything you need in advance of the winter storm. Pay close attention to your local weather forecasts and enable emergency alerts on your phone to receive updates from your local emergency management agency and from the National Weather Service. Keep cell phones, mobile devices, and spare batteries charged in case you lose power. Keep cabinet doors open for pipes located under sinks to stay warm, and let your faucets drip to prevent freezing. In snowy and icy areas, avoid traveling. If you have to be on the road, store an emergency kit in your vehicle. And don't forget to check on your loved ones and anyone you know who might be vulnerable, especially the elderly. Thank you. I'll now open the floor to questions here in the room and go to the mics on the sides if you have any questions, and you can direct them to any of the folks here. We'll start on this side.
Hi, good morning. Thank you. Dina with CBS 17. Are there any special preparations happening in Western North Carolina specifically for people who are still out of their homes?
Director Ray.
So thanks for that question. I think the focus on the recovery efforts, particularly around housing, are continuing. And as a reminder, we have a number of options that are available for disaster survivors, for transitional sheltering, or for housing assistance. And so would ask that if there are specific needs, if there are survivors that have those specific needs in the impacted communities, that they do call that disaster case management line to help navigate that. As we've looked at over the last couple of days at the run-up to this event and potential impact, I think obviously the more significant weather impact seems to be trending towards the central and eastern part of the state. And so much of the snow and weather that is forecasted in the west is within what we would say local capability and capacity. And so a number of those communities are doing targeted outreach to those individuals that they know of in their jurisdictions that have additional needs. And we stand ready to support some of those specifically as they reach out.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Governor Terry from SanfordTV.live and WWGP. What advice? I have two questions for you. What advice will you give for the senior citizen? And my second question is, what advice will you give for our wonderful farmers and our pet lovers?
As it relates to senior citizens or folks who aren't moving around very much, we don't want people moving around. Make sure that you have enough supplies, non-perishable food and water in case you lose water or power to your house. You don't want to have to be opening and closing your refrigerator. So make sure you have the right supplies on the front end, plenty of blankets to stay warm, have points of contact for people who can check in on you if necessary. And for pet owners, understand that when it's freezing temperatures out there, please keep your pets indoors.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Governor Laura Leslie, WRAL. We've been hearing over the past few months that response to Hurricane Helene has really stretched our state resources in terms of emergency management as well as DOT. Is there sufficient money in those budgets to handle this third response to this third storm this season?
Yeah, so there's no question that the state is prepared to respond to the issues of the moment, but I'll pass that on to Secretary Hopkins first and then Director Ray.
Yes, thank you for that question. From a transportation standpoint, yes, our budget is strong enough to handle this storm. We will continue responding to the Helene Recovery 2. Work will be ongoing even through this week as the storm hits. And as was the governor announced last week, we do plan to open I-40 to 2 lanes of traffic, 1 lane in each direction by March 1st. Right now, we do not expect this storm to impact that. But we'll keep monitoring and keep recovering as we move forward.
Thanks for the question, Laura. And I think what I would say is we continue to have a significant focus on Western North Carolina and those communities and our recovery. And through the capabilities that we have, through the State Emergency Response Team, through the partners you see here, and through the ones that are coming today and into tomorrow and the rest of the week, there's significant capacity to respond here in North Carolina. I think over the years, one of the benefits that we've had and that I don't take for granted is through both the governor's office and the General Assembly, we have a fund that is authorized to support initial response costs. And that's obviously something from a Helene standpoint that we're working through reimbursement on with FEMA, but from a financial standpoint, to be able to tap into those resources while we continue to focus on recovery, we can also balance some of the ongoing response needs as well.
One other question.
I'll just add my own comment to that, Laura, which is that we have funds sufficient to do the response to this storm that is about to hit. Where we need more funds is the long-term recovery for Western North Carolina. And as you know, I submitted a budget request for immediate needs of about $1 billion. The House is considering legislation, which I understand they'll take up next week now, of about $500 million. I thank them for their willingness to start spending some real money to help us get the work going, but we're going to need more work, more help along the way. So there's going to no question that between the federal and state governments, we need substantial resources to help Western North Carolina recover.
Obviously, just to follow up, the legislature has canceled its voting sessions for this week. I mean, is it frustrating at all that the storm is actually causing it to take longer to get money on the ground for Helene?
My frustration is not with the legislature. My frustration is with the weather. Yes. I mean, I want the legislators to be safe. We're advising people not to travel unnecessarily. We understand they'll come back and take it up next week, and is unfortunately a part of life here in North Carolina this winter. Now, at this point, we'll see if there are any questions on the phone. If you're on the phone, please press 1 to ask a question.
The first question is from Helen Chickering with Blue Ridge Public Radio. Please go ahead with your question. Helen, do you have a question?
Voice training, reporter training, and
The next question. Okay, moving to the next question is with Chris Peterson with WXII TV. Chris, please go ahead with your question.
Good morning, Governor. My question is about schools. School systems in Western North Carolina and in my area, Winston-Salem, Greensboro, and High Point, have already missed a considerable number of days because of previous winter weather. And remote learning days have been a challenge as well with the 5-day limit. So I was curious, since now there's been a state of emergency declared, would these days that are probably going to be missed this week count against schools? Would they be forced to make these days up, or are you going to waive them?
We will look into that question. One element in the budget request that I have made of the General Assembly that they have not indicated a willingness to fund at this point is paying for summer instructional time. There are school systems out west that have missed more than 15 school days already. It's imperative that students not miss out on the opportunity to learn. So we want to have instructional time this summer. That obviously costs money to operate, and so that is one of the budget items that remain in discussion with the General Assembly. I want to make sure that all young people in North Carolina have every opportunity to learn so that they can build whatever life they want for themselves.
The next question is from Simone Jasper with the NNO. Please go ahead with your question.
For the roads, and I was wondering if you would be able to share more information about preparations being done for potential power outages. What kind of crews are out there in regards to that effort?
Yes, we've heard that there are resources coming into North Carolina from other states to help pre-position to respond to power outages that may occur, and I'll ask Director Ray to offer more information.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that question. I think as the governor said, obviously one of our larger utilities in the state, Duke Energy, will be here, as well as our municipal and co-op partners today into tomorrow as we look at the impact. Again, to make sure that if they have resource needs to be able to quickly move crews, that we can support them as we can. Duke has shared with us that they are moving crews in from out of state, from a number of different locations into North Carolina. Today, they are moving crews from the west to the east and have a number of crews that will also follow on tomorrow from the western part of the state into primarily central and eastern North Carolina. And they're looking at capabilities both from a vegetation management standpoint as well as line crews to focus on restoration. And so based on the estimates that they're seeing, as we've talked about with the potential ice accumulation in some eastern parts of the state, they feel like they have adequate capacity right now. But I do think, and I know we say this during all events, but this is one of the reasons that it's really important. If you do not have to travel tomorrow and Thursday or later in this week with some of the hazardous conditions that are there, please stay off the roads. I think folks that are on the roads do slow down, whether it's power crews, DOT work, or public safety that are trying to respond. We really need folks to heed that request and stay off the roads where possible this week.
Any other questions? Okay, great. Thank you all for being here today.